So, the entrepreneur, Dan Martell, recently put out this incredible list of 40 brutal truths he wishes he could go back and tell his 20-year-old self. And we're not just going to read them off. No way. We're going to dig into the most powerful ones and turn them into a real practical framework you can start using, like, today. I mean, really think about that for a second. What if you could get a cheat code for wisdom? This isn't just some list you scroll through on social media. This is a roadmap. It's a way to skip years of painful trial and error. These are the lessons that build not just a bank account, but a life that's actually worth living. So let's start at the very beginning with the absolute bedrock. Everything, and I mean absolutely everything, starts right here. Look, before you can even think about conquering the world, you have to conquer yourself. And that's all about mastering the non-negotiables, the fundamentals of your physical and mental discipline. There's just such a brutal honesty to this, isn't there? Martell says most of us treat our bodies like some old beat-up car instead of the million-dollar racehorse it is. Your energy, that's what dictates your focus, your drive, your ability to just outperform everyone else. Without your health, every other ambition you have is basically just a daydream. So how do you actually build up that energy? Well, it's not magic, it's just mechanics. Waking up and going to bed at the same time, that stabilizes your whole system. Cutting out the junk, the sugar, the endless social media scrolling, even the drama. It frees up a ton of mental space. And confidence, that's built by keeping the promises you make to yourself, especially the ones nobody else ever sees. Okay, so once your physical foundation is solid, the next battleground is right between your ears. Your mindset is literally the operating system for your entire life. It's what decides whether a challenge is going to break you or build you. This is all about flipping the script on hardship. Martell talks about getting the flu right before he was supposed to record his audiobook, or injuring himself just as he was about to hit a new PR in the gym. And in those moments, he says, that's when he asks himself, how bad do you really want this? You see, these tests aren't setbacks. They're your chance to prove your commitment. Man, this one gets so twisted. Humility isn't about being weak or making yourself small. That doesn't help anybody. Real humility is about service. It's about shifting your focus from, how do I look right now, to how can I help? You can be incredibly confident and a total action taker while still putting other people first. Oof, this is one of the toughest truths to swallow, but it's also the most empowering. The second you blame someone else for your situation, you've just handed over all your power. You become a victim, just waiting for someone to rescue you. But the second you take total responsibility for everything, your choices, your situation, all of it, that's when you finally get the power to change it. So let's move on to the next pillar, because this stuff all builds on itself. You don't live in a bubble, right? The people you let into your life will either be fuel for your growth or they'll be anchors dragging you down. There really is no in-between. Just think about your circle for a second. Who are the energy vampires? The ones always taking, always complaining. And who are your cheerleaders? The ones who are genuinely excited when you win, the ones pushing you to be better. Martell says doing a friendventory, as he calls it, and just cleaning house was one of the biggest game changers in his life. You've got to surround yourself with people who celebrate your wins. And it's not just about who you pick. It's about how you manage those relationships. See, people will only treat you the way you allow them to. If someone's always late and you just always wait for them, you've taught them that your time isn't valuable. The first time a standard gets broken, you have to speak up. You communicate your preference. And that simple act right there sets a new norm and commands respect. This one is just so powerful. We spend so much time worried about hurting other people's feelings that we completely ignore our own. But as Martell asks, hey, what about your feelings? Every single time you say yes to something you don't want to do, you're saying no to your own goals, to your own peace of mind, to your own future. All right, so you've got your internal world sorted out, your social circle is solid, now we can turn all that focused energy outward. This part is all about actually building something, applying these principles to your work, your career, and your biggest, craziest goals. So many of us fall right into this trap. We think we have to get good at everything, so we just grind away at tasks we absolutely despise. The real key? Figure out what you're naturally good at and what you actually enjoy doing, and then pay somebody else to do the stuff you hate. That is how you build a career that gives you energy, not one that sucks the life out of you.
This right here, this really nails the power of playing the long game. People get all hyped up about one good day in the gym, but Martel says, look, he's not impressed by what you do for a day or a week or even a year. The world literally starts to bend in your direction when you dedicate a decade to something. Those tiny, consistent efforts, they compound into something totally unrecognizable over time.
And that leads to a pretty tough reality. If you have a vision for your life that's way bigger than anyone around you can see, guess what? They're not going to understand your sacrifices. They won't get why you're up so early or why you're working so late. And you know what? That's not just okay, it's completely normal. Like Martel says, all those people that misunderstood you will brag about being your friend once you win. And that brings us to the final and maybe the most profound idea of all. This is the philosophy that ties all the other truths together into one big, cohesive way of looking at the world. This is such a great metaphor. Most people spend their whole lives looking out the window, right? They're comparing their own life to someone else's highlight reel online. It's a game you can never, ever win. The alternative is to look in the mirror. Your life isn't about them. It is a direct reflection of your habits, your mindset, and your actions.
And that, right there, is the ultimate truth. If you want your world to change, you have to change. If you want to see more positivity, you have to be more positive. If you want more opportunities, you have to become more capable. Your external reality is just a printout of your internal programming. If you want to change the printout, you have to change the code inside.
So I'll just leave you with this question. After hearing all of this, when you really truly look in the mirror at your habits, your mindset, your circle, your work ethic, what do you see? And maybe more importantly, what are you going to build?